Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the presentation at 10 o'clock this morning, UK time. My name is Heather Thomas, the Songbird Stamper. And I've got a really fun project for you with this Country Birdhouse bundle. I'm not actually using a lot of the products from the suite today. I wanted to show you how to go a little bit off-piste with this one. And I really hope you're enjoying your stamp camp, having a good time, watching along, creating your card kits, whatever you're up to this morning, crafting wise. I hope I'm in the right place. So I'm just going to try and find that video, but if anybody's around, just give me a shout and let me know. I am all good to go. So I debated whether to show you the card before we get creating or whether you just get to see it kind of evolve as we go along, and I'm never really quite sure what the best thing to do is, but I've decided I'm not going to show you the card right at the beginning. Okay, cool. I can see my video. I'm just going to open that up so I can see any comments that might come through. There we go. Okay, so this is the stamp set. I'm literally only using this stamp from the stamp set this morning. Everything is dies. We're just using the dies for this card. Good morning, Lorraine. Good morning, Carol. Lovely to see you. So the first colour we're going to bring in, and there's quite a lot of colour today, is Melon Mambo. Gorgeous, gorgeous colour. And this is going to be our card base. So we'll cut this down to 14.5. By 21, and we're scoring half at 10.5. So I'm metric, but it is literally just whatever your standard size card base is, because I know I do mine a little bit differently to some people in the UK or Europe as well. So just a standard size card base, nothing exciting. Good. Hello, Jackie. Good morning. I was just going to try and say good morning, and I thought some people might actually be in the evening, but you're from Bedford. So I don't even know where Bedford is actually, but I know it's in the UK. My UK geography is pretty poor. So normal card base, we can pop that to one side. Morning, Becky. How are you doing this morning? I hope everybody's well. It is horrible here in the UK. I will admit I'm not even out of my pyjamas. I've got a proper jumper on, but I'm still in my pyjamas. So we're now going to cut a, I don't think I've cut that square, but we'll cut a kind of card front, 14 by 10. So a standard size card front, whatever yours would be. Okay, 14 by 10. That's just going to layer straight on top of here, but we're going to create a background first. And I'm going to bring in some copy paper. Morning, Kimberly. Good morning. So this is just standard printer copy paper. If you don't have any, you can just use grid paper. Just use a page from a notebook, anything. It doesn't have to be anything specific. I'm going to grab a pair of scissors. Now, you either do this kind of along this way or along this way. It doesn't really matter. I tend to find I quite like doing it this way. Sorry, something's just making a noise under my desk. I'm pretty sure I don't have any animals under there. So I'm going to cut along this way, and we're going to cut some cloud type shapes. So you want some big, some small. Most of your background is going to be covered up, so don't kind of get too pedantic about it, but just some nice fluffy cloud shapes. And if you think that your width of your card is only this wide, we're going to have plenty to play with here, and you don't want them too big. Hi Lorraine, nice to see you this morning. So we're just going to do some little ones. You want them to kind of be different as you go along. And that will give you plenty of options to move this around as we go. So I'm just going to try and do something with this one here, because this is the only one I think it just looks a bit wonky. So we're just going to try and... There we go, neaten that up just a little bit. So we've got like, morning Sue, we've got like a cloud background going on. And I tend to use Stampin' Up! Do two different types of brushes. They do a blending brush, a big one and a little one. This is the little one. And for comparison, oh, come here. This is the big one. And I just find this a little bit easier with a smaller brush. Mine has got green on it. They've been sat next to each other and they're not in the Stampin' Up! Storage. So I've tried to get that off this morning, but we'll see. Balmy blue ink pad. And your piece of cardstock here. So if I was supposed to tell you random facts about myself this morning or anything, I've completely forgot. I've been a bit out of the loop. So apologies, but I'm just here demonstrating my card for you guys. So, and I hope you enjoy it. All we're going to do is kind of line this up. This is our mask. Pick up some ink. I always take the worst of the ink off on the grid paper, just so I don't get that big smudgy mark. And this is why I like doing it with a small brush, because you really don't want to cover the whole thing. You just want a bit of blue ink around where your cloud shape is. So we're going to just put a little bit of ink down. At some point in the future I'm going to have to re-ink this. I have got a re-inker, but I just keep thinking, oh, it'll be fine, it'll be fine. I should probably have done it before today. Just takes a few coats. So that's what you're left with after the first pass. Now you're going to take this. I really like this bit on the left. I think this bit on the right is a bit too big. So you can always just go in and amend your stencil as well. So we could cut that one into smaller clouds if we wanted to. And then we could do something like this. And you just keep moving it around. I quite like that there, look. That's just moved. We're going to have most of this covered up anyway, like I say, but the key is to keep that white space up the top. We used to have a set of dies that worked really well for this, but now they're retired, or if you don't own them, you've joined Stampin' Up! Since they kind of come out, you've found out about Stampin' Up! Rather, since they've been retired, you can just make your own stencils and your own masks using paper. I'm doing an art journaling course at the moment, and it's really interesting what kind of household objects you can use for stencils. Can you see how we're going to just create this cloud pattern as we go? So we'll do one like this as well, I think. So big. The hardest thing is making a decision about where you want to put your... Let's go there, that's quite nice. So what's everybody up to this morning? Are you dedicating your entire day to Stamp Camp? That sounds amazing. Or are you kind of dipping in and out? Let me know what you guys are up to today. Are you crafting along? Are you doing your kits, or are you trying to follow along with me? This is the bonus project, so this isn't kind of in line with your kits. This is the extra project, your kits you can do at any time. You've got the YouTube videos, and then this is your bonus video. So you get a whole massive 26 projects with Stamp Camp, which is fantastic. So many ideas and inspirations for you to try. And now I'm going to come in with this one on this side. This bit in the middle is definitely going to be covered up. Ah, morning, Jules. Oh, fabulous. Nice crafty day. Yeah, Russ is my other half. He's got a video game, new video game. He only bought it 2 days ago. So he was up yesterday at 7 o'clock in the morning in his office, and I didn't really realise what he was up to. And then that evening he said to me, he said, do you mind if I go and play some game? I was like, no, of course not. And I said, oh, you know, I was talking about it. And he said, oh, I might have done an hour before work this morning. So he's just been in his office gaming, which suits me perfectly, because it means I can spend all day in my craft room, not feel guilty. I'm not doing any adulting today. I'm going to do some baking, ready for afternoon tea, afternoon tea at 3 o'clock. So if you're around, how many hours is that from now? 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 5 hours from now. We will be all on Zoom and streaming, I think, to the Facebook group. I'm not actually sure how we're doing it now, but that should be fun. If you guys are around to come and watch, see what we get up to. We've got some bonus projects. I am in the middle of making a lot of my bonus projects. using the challenges that we've been putting in the group. So yeah, if you haven't seen the challenges, there's a colour challenge, a tic-tac-toe challenge and a sketch challenge for you to have a go at as well. So there's so much going on. Watching and doing a bit of the special products and in between trying to do the make and take, that is perfect, Lorraine. That's how I think I would do it. If I had a full day to dedicate to Stamp Camp and I was taking part, I would be kind of watching along to these videos and trying to kind of maybe even make a start on them. And then in between doing the make and take projects. That's how I would run it. Stamp Camp day, full day. Oh, amazing, Rebecca. Last night I started the make and takes. Oh, mine was the first. Yeah, mine is always the first on the PDF. I must have been, when we first did them, I must have been, and I always do, I tend to always try and work really quite ahead. So I do tend to be first in a lot of things. It's not for that reason. It's just because my mind doesn't really work so well if it's, if I'm under pressure. I tend to like to work ahead. Otherwise I get a bit stressed. So this is a little bit laborious, but I think it's totally worth it for this background that you're going to create. You can use your dies to make stencils as well. So if you had some acetate, and all of our stamps come with that acetate, not all of our stamps, sorry, the photopolymer stamps come with some acetate. You take a sheet of that acetate, it's bigger than your card base, cut into it with your stencils, with your dies, and create your own stencils. That's really fun to do. And I'm just going to put a little bit down here. I don't really know. I'll try. I just feel it needs something. Maybe I'll come back over to this one. There we go. I think that would be good. But obviously it's just, you just want a tiny, teeny bit of blue. I don't want to get rid of that white because that's what creates the... And you could even do two or three of these if you kind of wanted different shapes as you went down. You could create a couple of stencils. Thanks, Carol. Yeah, it's brilliant, isn't it? Really nice technique, this one, to create a little bit of a background as you go. There we go. I might not have needed that bottom one if I'm completely honest, but there we go. So now we'll just keep blending, I think, because we're on a bit of a roll. So I'm going to keep my grid paper. I normally like to turn my grid paper over, but whilst I'm still blending, and I'm going to bring in Melon Mambo. Ah, bless you. Thank you, Lorraine. Yes, really, try it if you haven't done this already, and it works so well with the Country Birdhouse bundle. So what do we need? We need some cards. So we need some white cardstock, and we need some of the dies. So we are going to cut the big birdhouse, the kind of corner decorated piece, the base, we'll need the wheel. I know it's not a wheel, but that's what it is to me. And we need this top piece as well. I'm getting deja vu because I recorded a tutorial card video and I did this whole video by mistake, and then probably about halfway through I realised, and I was just like, I'm just going to keep going. Oh, my pleasure, Kimberly. My pleasure. Yeah, some nice dies. If you can get some nice kind of shaped dies, you can create some really nice stencils. So we just need a standard... I've been embossing this morning, but we just need a standard setup on our cut and emboss machine. And then I'm just going to cut a big strip of this one. This is just basic white cardstock. This card uses very little coloured cardstock. So I'm going to show you a couple of techniques. 2 techniques, in fact, for colouring your die cuts. So what I'm going to do, and I'll do it on here because then I can just transfer it all. We are just going to cut all of this in one go. And it means it's much less fiddly as well. So just cut all in one go. We are then going to cut this out, and it's going to go about here. So it's about in line. So that horizontal bar is about in line with the edges and it's in the middle. So that's where you want your wheel to be. It's actually the hole for the birdhouse. And then that can go through all in one go. I don't tend to tape my die cuts. I probably should. Oh, see, I definitely should, because it's just moved. So let's come back. Let's take that. Let's be sensible. So that's the one that it's just about cut. So we can line that back up in there. And then use a bit of tape to tape it down. I'm just not, I'm not very patient. Actually, I need that tape because that's all I've got. It's in the other room. So let's tape this. This is the most important one. We do not want a wonky birdhouse hole. That would be bad. Okay. So you need to keep the inner bit from the circle, that tiny little white bit, you need to keep that. You can always cut another one if you lose it, so don't worry too much. But then we've got all of our bits and bobs. And we can put the dies away because we don't need those anymore. Take our little wheel off. Okay. So that's all of it. So we need to do one more bit of die cutting later. Well, actually, you will need to do quite a lot more die cutting. So if you are die cutting and you kind of are on a roll with it, you need to cut a lot of white flowers and leaves. And by a lot, I mean take every flower and every leaf and cut it 4 times. Okay, so 4 times for each one, and that will give you a nice little pile that we can play with in a bit. But for now, I'm just going to show you how to blend this birdhouse. So we've got Mellow Mumbo, and again I'm using a small blending brush just because I find it much easier in delicate work. And I'm going to start with the birdhouse, and I'm going to start in the centre, and I want that to be the darkest area. So I'm just radiating out. So this top bit is going to be covered, and that bottom bit is going to be covered. But you want to ink, you want to make sure you've got enough ink so that when you put these on, it's definitely covered. Makes sense? So we need to make sure we go down far enough, and I think I'm happy with that as it is. So I've got a darker centre around the birdhouse hole, and then just kind of ombre out like that. So that's that one. This one, you're going to do this one next actually. So without re-inking the brush, I'm just taking that blending brush. It's got enough ink on it already. And I'm going darker at the edges here. Seeing if I can get away with doing this, because if you put more ink on it, it gets really dark. So darker there, and then coming up to lighter at the top. Doesn't really have to be perfection, but just a really light. And then this one is super, super light. You really basically barely want to be able to see the pink. I just love how you can get that tonal variation of the same colour just by putting more or less ink on. I think it's just fun. So just barely pink, like a really baby pink. And then this one here, we may need to just take a little bit more ink. I'm going to take most of it off. From the base, that thinner bit at the bottom, that narrower bit is the base, the wider bit is the top. And I'm just going to ink the bottom bit and try and get an ombre effect. So if you don't want inky fingers, you can take your pick tool and hold that down. That's the spatula end, because the spatula end shouldn't. If you use the point, you can dig in to the point and just hold that in place lightly while you sponge some ink on the bottom. And that's probably enough, to be honest. We can then assemble our little birdhouse. So we need to put something on the back of here. This is going to stick straight onto here, and we don't really want to be able to see kind of clouds behind it. And it's the same for any background you create with this birdhouse. If you've got a hole in the middle, just grab yourself a square of cardstock. Just needs to be bigger than the hole, and you can just add that with a bit of glue. I've really enjoyed creating with this suite, I will say. I haven't used the papers hardly at all, but I've really enjoyed the bundle. I love natural and wood, and there's some fabulous things you're going to see today being created. But I just, for me, personally, I'm not really a natural. I'm more of a brights, colours kind of person, brights and subtles. So I'm just going to add this little dot, just a tiny, tiny dab of glue. And then that's going to sit just below. I don't even know really what that is for, but you do get a lot of, on birdhouses, you get a lot of the kind of a little bit of wood poking out. So because we've done all of our blending, and I hate a messy grid paper, I'm just going to turn that over while we assemble. So we've got our little birdhouse. So I start at the top. Oh, bless you, Lorraine. Yeah, I know. Some people hate having messy hands. Like, I don't mind, like, inky or even glue it. I don't like dirty hands. I won't touch. I'm a bit funny. I can't abide chalk. I can't work with chalk at all. I can't even bear to think about it, let alone touch it or look at it. It's the texture. And if I'm working in the garden, I will always have to have a pair of gloves on. I can't abide dirty. It's the texture, I think, for me. So kind of inky, it's not a problem. But yes, I'm sure it didn't last long. Trying to wear the disposable gloves. It's the only thing I would say is don't go. I went for a saxophone lesson once after I'd been crafting, and I'd been doing something with red ink, and oh my word, the ink on my hands, it looked like I'd gone and murdered somebody. It was awful. And I had to turn, I was like, I'm really sorry, this is just ink. You have to kind of excuse yourself. So this base is just going to come under here like this. And you can see there, just with one colour, we've really created a mix, a complete mix of colours on our birdhouse. Oh, there you go, Rebecca. Well done. So Rebecca's just put, if you're not reading the comments, the dot or peg is for the birds to stand on before they go through the hole. So you can see how I actually go bird watching now, but I don't really know much about birds. I've only just started. And yeah, so that's fascinating. They stand on it. Well, we were watching, went out the other day, and I go out with a couple of friends who photograph birds, but it's not really my thing. I'm not really into photography, but I pretend I am so that I get to go with them. So I took my camera, and it was so funny. There was a bird going into his little nest he'd made in a tree, and he was it was in out, because obviously they're nesting, and he was standing on the branches of the other trees, just around it, kind of checking everything out before he just went straight in. There was nothing for him to land on, and then he just dived straight in, and then we were trying to catch him as he came out. And I must have really quick reactions because I was getting the photos just with one shot on my camera, and the others were doing kind of bursts of shots and still missing it because it just weren't quick enough. It was funny. Right, so I've just cut this one in Melon Mambo. So this is like an ornate post for your bird house, but it's too long for the card. So what we can do is we can just stick it on where we think. And that's determined by where you want the top of your birdhouse to be. So however high you want the top of your birdhouse to be, that's going to go on with dimensionals. And it could almost go on now. But I was just going to line it up by eye and then pop this one underneath with some wet glue. I have no idea how long this video is, by the way. I think it's quite long. I don't know how long we're supposed to be, but I've already been 25 minutes. As long as I don't go over an hour, I think we're probably good. So that's just going to go on with wet glue, like that. Again, just play with it, make sure you've got it centrally, and then we can cut that off in a minute. So all we do is flip that over and then chop. And that's that one. So that then can go up on dimensionals. Just going to cut these down. I'm still working my way through a mountain of strips, the edges of these dimensionals. I think it's fabulous. We get to use these, and they're great for these bigger areas we need to cover. Just need a bit in the middle. There we go. So that is our little birdie house. I'm making a mess. And he's going to sit just on the top of that peg or fence, just there. So, should we do some stamping? The only bit of stamping that is in this project, not counting any sentiment you might want to add. There's actually no sentiment on the outside of this one. Take a tiny piece of card. We need to do 2. And we're going to grab the bird. So this is just a little birdie from that set. I've just got some memento. I think in your tutorial card I've mirror imaged the bird, and I might just show you how to do it. If I can find my silicone craft mat, I haven't actually done this on this card, but if I can find my silicone craft sheet. Yeah, quickly and easily. I'll show you. Oh, that's a really dirty one. We'll see if it works. So you really ought to have a clean silicone craft sheet, but this is one I use for paint. So I'm just going to try and find a clean area here. So what we're going to do, we're going to create a mirror image of the birdie just about here. All we're going to do is a really quick and simple way to do mirror imaging. Just take your bird, stamp him onto there, and then fairly quickly take your card and rub it over. And this will work on any kind of acetate, any porous, non-porous surface. And then you've got a mirror image of your little birdie. And you could go over that with pen if you wanted to. If you wanted it a little bit darker, you've now got the lines, but I think it's really effective. Just as it is, really. Nice, quick and easy way. I'm not a fan of complicated crafting. I like fairly quick and easy results. And I'm just going to colour him in crumb cake. So I'm going to do both, because I want one way and one the other way. So just under the base here is going to be dark crumb cake, and at the back of the wings as well. Same with my colouring. I kind of do quick ways to get an effective result, and then we go all over that in the light crumb cake. You're not going to see on this one, you're not going to see the tail, so it doesn't matter. But I can't not finish them off neatly. And then same for this one, just underneath the wing here in that darker. At the back there. And go all over that in the light crumb cake. Come on, pen. Clearly running out. I've probably got a spare, but I like to get every last bit of colour that I can out of these. There we go. And I'm just going to bring in the light lemon lolly just for his beak. I don't know why I'm saying it's a he, this colour scheme is probably more likely to be a she-bird, isn't it? Hey Hazel. The brighter birds tend to be the males, and the browner, more muted colours tend to be the females. So we just need to do one more thing. So this is going to be our bird that we're going to cut out. The one facing left, we're going to cut out completely, and then we just need to do something to the other bird before we cut it out. And we will need one more of the stamps, actually. We need the birdhouse stamp. So if you put your stamps away, apologies. If you're even crafting along, you might just be watching. And there's probably other ways to do this. Probably even more easier ways to do this. The thing that I'm going to show you now. But I've always been the kind of person, I will choose the hardest way of doing things, it seems. So we're going to take the birdhouse. I'm not going to use, my block's not even big enough, but it doesn't matter because we only need the hole. So we just need that area there. And we are going to take a memento, or I am anyway, and I'm just going to ink up that whole area. Good morning, Katie. Good morning, Holly. How are you both doing? You're all good. You're all good. So what I'm going to do is stamp the hole over the bird, and you want it so that the beak is not got a line over it. So we're going to line it up so that the line goes just outside the beak. Can you see? Just wait for my computer to catch up, make sure I'm holding this in the right place. There we go. So you're now going to cut around the circle on his body. Okay, so you cut around the circle. Ideally cut inside the line just so that you don't see any of that line. And then you can fussy cut around the rest of it. And I think that's a really effective way of making your shape match the hole. So the other way to do it is probably to poke the bird from underneath, but I quite like doing it this way. And if you've not quite managed to get it, you can just trim wherever you need to. But anyway, you don't need to be too fussy. That can then just be stuck down. In the hole. There he is. And this one can then perch. We'll put a little dimensional underneath that area back there. It was the way my brain worked, Lorraine. I was like, how am I going to do this? And then I thought, oh, okay, that looks like it works. Like I say, it's probably one of the more, I don't know, somebody will come up and say, this is an easier way, but it works for me. So we need a little bit of glue just underneath his head and his tail. Oh, actually, his feet, isn't it? Head and feet. And then the rest of him is going to sit, or her, on the edge like that. Okay. Now I think we need some flowers. Definitely need some flowers. Just going to put all my dies away. I've got a magnetic little die holder, which I got some guys from my class bought me for my birthday, which is really lovely. And it just stores all my dies. So now come in all of your die cuts. So remember I said take all the leaves, I think there's 4 leaves and 4 flowers, and die cut them all 4 times. So this is slightly labour intensive. I just think it's so effective. If you cut them all out of cardstock, which is absolutely you can do if you're like, oh, I don't fancy doing this, just cut all the flowers and leaves out of different colour cardstock. I just find the cardstock can be quite dark and quite heavy. I do always think we need flowers. Katie knows me well. If we haven't got flowers on it, it's not a project. So, yeah, if you cut them out of the cardstock, you just get quite dark, heavy flowers. And I prefer this. So you've got two options. You could have just blended the cardstock with the ink, just like we've done with that birdhouse, before you cut it out. So that's one option. Or, because I love a bit of colouring, you can use your alcohol markers. And we are just going to colour the flowers in with the alcohol markers. So I've got lemon lime twist for all of the leaves. So I'm just going to do all the leaves first. So this is slightly, hence why I cut them ahead of time, because I didn't think you needed to watch me. So I've got dark lemon lime twist and light lemon lime twist. You're not going to see many of the stems. So just putting some dark at the base of the flower, leaf. Oh, this is going to, I need a new pen. I don't know if it's going to last. Let me see if I've got one in my drawer. Just decided it's had enough this morning. I must have known it was on its way out. So we'll keep using him until he actually dies. But I just like the fact that you can get the variated colour as well, which you can't get from cardstock. So, no, he's gone, isn't he? He's going to have to go. Sorry, pen. That's better. Maybe I should have coloured these some of these in advance as well. Oh well, never mind. I'm here all day. I've got time. I think I'm supposed to show you my make and take card as well, but you've all probably seen a picture of it if you've seen the PDF. I'm not entirely sure where it is. Well, a little tiny bit of sunshine's coming out, which is good because I want to use the oven in a bit. And we've got solar panels. So I said to Russ last night, I said, oh, I'll do some baking. He was like, no, we can't do baking tonight. We haven't got any sunshine. So I said, okay, I'll do it tomorrow. You would think, right? You would think he would just be like, yes, make the brownie. Because he loves brownie, but no. Making chocolate brownie cupcakes is actually what I'm making. I've never made them before. I just looked through the recipe book of a lady called Jane's Patisserie. So I've got a couple of her recipe books and I thought, oh, they look nice. Thought you were going to be using the blending brushes, but both options. Yeah, do you know what, Katie? I think I used blending brushes in the original in the original project. And I may well have told, I don't know, like I haven't shared the instructions for this. So I wonder where you've seen, but it is entirely possible. It will probably be much quicker with the blending brushes. I don't even know if I'm going to finish this because we'll be here forever. But I find it really just therapeutic. Oh, I will. I'm going to bring one to afternoon tea later. That is my idea. I can't imagine I'll eat 12 before we get to afternoon tea. You never know though. I saw a meme the other day on Facebook, and it was I shared it in my group, but it was something about you can just go to the store and buy an entire birthday cake and eat it all yourself, right? Nobody checks. I thought that was quite funny. Oh, just a guess. Okay, cool. You could absolutely do this with the blending brushes. So there's two ways. I wanted to show you both ways on the card. So we did the birdhouse with the blending brushes, and we've done the leaves with the colouring pens. So I'm just going to do a couple more of these because we probably won't use all of them anyway. And then I'll move on to the flowers, so it's a bit more exciting than just watching me colour leaves. Okay. So we've got those to spare if we need them. And then the colours I've used are Fresh Freesia, Balmy Blue, Lemon Lolly. And I'm just going to do one flower basically in each colour and then a couple of extra. So we've got dark Lemon Lolly and light Lemon Lolly. I love a lemon lolly. What's everyone's favourite ice cream? If you could pick the ice cream of your choice, what would you pick? We've just found, we went on holiday to Denmark and we had Lidl's ice creams while we were there. We were in a self-catering apartment, so we bought Lidl's ice creams and they were absolutely delicious. So we decided when we got back to the UK we were going to try and find them, and I couldn't find them anywhere. Anyway, I went to Lidl's the other day and I found them. So yeah, we've stocked up. We might have bought a few boxes. It's like just a normal choc ice kind of ice lolly or ice cream on a stick. Really, really tasty. Oh, I wasn't supposed to do that. Hang on, I'm getting carried away colouring. It's for one of each. One of each. This is what happens. I just get into the zone. So there's 4 different types of flower in the bundle in the dies. You've got the big curly one, the big pointy one, the little curly one, and the little pointy one. You all must be busy crafting, apart from Katie. You're all very quiet. I don't mind at all. I'll just find something to ramble on about. I'm quite good at that. Not in person. I'm rubbish at that in person. But when I'm on my own, I could just talk to myself for hours. Okay, so we've got 4 of those, or one each of all 4 of those, and then we're going to bring in the Balmy Blue. So let's get them ready before we go, so I don't get carried away. Dark and light again. I always just like really putting the dark in the centre and then just using the light. I nearly always colour with dark first. I find it easier just to blend with the light then. Most people just find their way with their colouring style. We are off to London tomorrow, the big old capital city. We really don't go very often. It's only an hour and a half away on the train. And we're going to go and do 2 really, really cool things. So in the afternoon, we have booked to see The Lion King musical, which I'm so excited about. I have not seen it for years. I went years and years ago with my ex-husband actually, and he was my husband at the time. And my nephew, who now must be in his mid-20s, and he was probably about 12 when we took him. And yeah, we are going to go and see that in the afternoon. And then I found out that the London Underground do hidden underground tours. So Russ loves that kind of thing. Whenever we go to a National Trust property, he's always the one trying to find the doors that say no entry. And he'll just pretend that he hasn't seen it and just kind of sneak in. No, he doesn't. He would love to, but he will try and kind of nose around as much as he can. So that's the Balmy Blue. And then we're going to do the Fresh Freesia on one set. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So yeah, we're going to go and do that in the morning. It's a bit tight for times. I hadn't anticipated that the trains weren't going to be running quite as early in the morning. So we've got a 7 o'clock train, and that gets us into London about 9:15, and then that will give us time to get to Piccadilly station. And then we'll have to find somewhere for lunch. We might take a packed lunch actually, I don't know, probably not. Find somewhere for lunch. And then dinner in the city probably as well, and then we'll catch a train home. So that's our tomorrow. What have you got? You might want to be decompressing after stamp camp tomorrow if you're having a big old crafty day today, or doing the housework maybe. if there's no housework getting done today because you're all busy crafting, we might have an influx of housework being done tomorrow. I just think I don't really tend to do much housework. If I'm completely honest, we do enough. We do just enough to get by. Russ is so good. He does all the laundry. So I try and do the kitchen. So 4 of those, 4 of those, 4 of those, 4 of those. And then we can just do a couple of random ones. I don't know how many we need, if I'm completely honest. So we've got 1 extra one in yellow already, because I got carried away. I have 1 extra one in the fresh freezer. Now, if you sponged ink on these, which is what I think I did on my original card, you could go darker and have gorgeous grape, because it's a really, really lovely colour. Yes, Becky. Yes, we've just started. So I found out about the TV show because I found the website where you could book the tours. So we've only watched a couple, but they're really good. Series on TV about hidden London. But I will let you know what the tour is like. I will let you know because it looks amazing. It looks fantastic. So fingers crossed. And then one more. No, I don't think we need one more. Let's just put that to one side. So we've got all of our little bits now. Whew. Gosh, there's still 12 of you still with me. Well done. And we're just going to have some fun. This is not the easiest of things. You can use glue dots if you want to. But I'm going to use glue. And I'm going to get a bit messy with the glue. And that's okay. So I'm just going to kind of shape my flowers. Pop a dab of glue on the back. And the biggest thing with Tombow glue is just give it time to dry. So just place it. The more you kind of faff around with it, I think the more frustrated you get. It will dry, just give it some time. And I'm just kind of copying my sample card. I've got my take your pick tool so I can give it a press down in the middle, just lightly if I want to. And I'm going to tuck some leaves under as well. Just a blob of glue and then place it down. So we're going to grab that one there maybe. With these leaves, you might just want to cut that stem off so you can put some glue at the base of the leaves and then tuck that underneath that flower. I'll have one of these up here. Yeah, it's going to be a really busy day, Lorraine, but definitely fun, I hope. Yeah, we really don't go very often at all. We toyed with the idea of staying overnight, but it's quite expensive to stay in London. And again, with these, I am just going to chop the stems off, just so I can get that leaf underneath my flower. It's just a case of flower arranging now. Gosh, it's just so windy. It feels like autumn. June should be quite nice up this way. So we're in the south of England. So it should be really quite a nice month, but it's not happening. So let's grab one of these and place that under. Place that somewhere like that, and then that flower can just go over the top. So you can put as many or as little flowers on as you want. You might decide that actually that's enough. I've gone a bit crazy, so I've kept going. I've done loads actually. So let's have another little look. Where are we going to put? We want another big one up here. On the top of our little birdhouse. Hoping I've done enough flowers. I'm not entirely sure. Oopsies. popping some blue. A little blue one here. And then we'll have another little leaf. Next weekend be 24 degrees. Oh, will it? Ah, okay, Hazel. It's supposed to be really nice next. What am I doing next weekend? I'm going up to Guildford for a painting day. I'm doing a landscape painting. It's going to be the biggest one I've ever done. He does them on A3, and I've never done one that big. So, but it's going to be fun, I'm sure. Can't believe you just found the pokey end of your take your pick tool. Was it hiding? Did you remember? You have to take it out. The spatula, yeah, the spatula's at one end, which I use a lot. So I use my spatula a lot for ungluing things that I've glued down in error, because it just slides underneath. So you just take your time and heat it up, heat whatever you're doing, heat it up, and then slide underneath. You'll be back from holiday, so you'll be back at work. Oh, that's rubbish, Hazel. Are you actually going away on holiday? Where are you off to? I've just had a week off, which was lovely. I'm really frustrated at work at the moment, but it's not for a conversation for today. But I just decided I was going to take my day shifts off. I don't want to work them anymore. I didn't want to see anybody. So I'm back to back at work on nights next week. And then I'm on weekends for a while. And then I've got a bit more time off because I've taken a holiday. I've decided I'm not going to have any leave left to take next year because I'm going to have taken it all. But there you go. Well, that's next year's problem. We'll figure it out. I do quite a lot of overtime as well, and we can take that off as time off in lieu. So if needs be, I'll just take it off. Could do with the money, but it's just hard sometimes, isn't it, with work? It's just like, oh, I just really would rather be crafting. So we've got a few flowers left over. Sadly, actually, I haven't got many yet. Oh, hang on. There we go. Here's a few I did earlier for a different project. Birmingham to visit your school friend. Oh, Hazel. Haven't seen her for 10 years. How amazing. Oh, you're going to have a wicked time. Yeah, fantastic. I'm not in touch with, oh, I think I am, a couple of my school friends, but yeah, that's really, really good. 60 years. I wouldn't say I'm necessarily friends with them. I don't really see them or kind of chat to them. We're just acquaintances. Lovely. Well, I hope it's good weather for you. Where am I putting this one? I'm just too busy chatting. There we go. A little one up here, and then we need some more leaves put on. I haven't put many leaves on yet. So that one can go on there. Let's use this double one, and then we'll have we've got yellow and purple. Well, yellow, purple and blue left. So let's go purple. I may have got a bit carried away with the amount of flowers I put on here as I was creating this card. I don't know, you'll have to let me know what you think. I was just really having a nice time gluing and sticking, obviously. So that's going to go on there. Then we can cut off the stem on that one. And then that can glue underneath there, just coming out from behind. And then we'll pop a couple more leaves on just because we've got them kicking around and it needs them. Glue's getting a little bit stuck. My glue never blocks up. I'm really normally very good at putting the lid back on, but this is a lot of gluing and sticking in one go. So that one can come out from behind there. And then I think we need some up the top too. Oh, thank you. It's just a really different way to use this bundle. I was inspired by the colour scheme I saw on a beautiful card. It wasn't Stampin' Up. I don't know who it was or what. I can't even remember what it was. I just saw this vibrant pink against all these flower colours, and I was just like, oh, that's gorgeous. We'll have to have a go at making that. Yes, Rebecca. Yeah. So sadly, I won't be where. Don't want to say too much, but yeah, there's an event going on. I won't be there. I will be at a little village called Compton near Guildford. You may have heard of it. You may not. So there we go. That is basically finished because I've run out of flowers. So all that needs to happen now is for it to get put on the top of the card. And I like to kind of move everything messy out the way when I do this. I'll say all that's left. It's not. We've got a couple more things left to do. So, Kimberly, they're great, aren't they? Melon Mambo, Balmy Blue, Fresh Freesia and Daffodil Delight. No, Lemon Lolly. So that's going to go just on the front of our card like that. And that pink background just makes those colours pop even more. I've gone for a no sentiment on the front of this one. Love the blue blending in the back, how that works. And then we've just got a couple of gems to pop on. Find the lid, there we go. These are the Iridescent Pearls Basic Jewels. I think they're so pretty. It's one of my favourite gems. 2 sizes, and you can colour them with your stamping blends as well. So I'm just going to go through and put some of the big ones in the centre of the big flowers. And not every flower is going to have a gem, but just picking some of those, come on, picking some of those flowers out and then popping a gem. I've lost the actual take your pick tool. I think I took it to class yesterday, and it will be back. It will be somewhere, but it's not right here. So I'm just having to make do. Just picking a few of those gems out. It does match your hair, Becky. This is a Becky card. I might have to send you one. I've got 3 of these now. The one I made for the sample, the one I made in error for my video the other day, and then this one. Yeah, I don't know. How many gems do we want to put on? We want a few, don't we? Let's put another one on there. And another one probably here as well. They're so gorgeous. Oh, lovely. Thank you so much, Lorraine. I'm glad you like it. And I don't normally decorate. I must sound a bit bad at this. Like, some people do some lovely stuff on the inside of their cards. Excuse me, I've got a frog. Oh, I know what it is. I'm on some medication. And when my mum was poorly, we actually used it for her to dry her mouth out. That's what it is used to do, along with other things. And it really, really dries my mouth out, which is very, very difficult for talking. Luckily, I'm not massively a big talker in life. But when I do things like this, gosh, we've been an hour. I was just going to say, we've been talking for an hour. So I struggle a little bit. So all I'm going to do is just pop some white card on the inside. You need some white card to really finish that off and make that easier to write. You could then absolutely grab a sentiment. I might just do it anyway as well, since we're here. I hope you have the best day ever. That's a really nice sentiment. My trick for lining up stamps, if you've got something that you need to line up straight, I actually put it wonky on the block, because then the block isn't in my focus when I line this up. I was chatting to someone the other day, and someone was asking how we do it, and I said that's how I do it, and someone else was like, yeah, exactly the same. If you try and line it up straight on the block, you then have to line 2 things up straight. I find it really difficult. So for me, line it up as wonky as you can on the block, and then you're only worried about your stamp when you put your stamp down. My last little tip of my live. So there's our card. Yeah, I hope you enjoy it. Here's the other one I made. So this was with the ink blended back flowers, and you can see I've done that in Gorgeous Grape. So you get a little bit of a different look, and I've got there 2 birds facing the same way. But I've actually decided I was going to do a bit of mirror stamping. So if you missed the beginning and you want to know how to do mirror stamping, do please go back through. I hope you love it as much as I do. I think I went a bit mad with flowers, but you know, I think you can never have too many flowers. That's me. Up next, you have got Sarah Sayers from the UK. She will be with you in 1 hour from now. So that's at 12 o'clock UK time. Thank you guys. Yeah, fabulous wonky tip. Thanks for watching along, everybody who's watched along. Lovely to see you. I really hope you enjoy the rest of your stamp camp. If you have any questions or problems whatsoever, please do reach out to us, either in the group or private message. We would all be willing to help you out and get you on the road to crafting. Take care for now, and I will see you again at 3 o'clock UK time this afternoon. That is in 4 hours from now, for a Crafternoon tea. Bye everybody. Take care for now. See you later. Bye bye.